Good evening, class. I wanted to record a very brief video here to cover 3 points with you. Point number 1 is I want you to know how to access, how to view past sessions of recordings that we have on Blackboard Collaborate, right? First of all, here's how you find Blackboard Collaborate. You scroll down to where it says Collaborate, Blackboard Collaborate, and you click on it. So here you go, the last link on the page, right? We have many sessions, right? Many impromptu live sessions, usually prompted by students who say they have a question and they want to meet with me, and then your classmates are nice enough that they allow me to record the session, and then what happens is you guys can go ahead and gain access to the session later on. So how do you gain access to them? The first time you click on Blackboard Collaborate Ultra, it'll bring you to sessions, to this menu here by default. Well, that is where you go if you want to join the course room and you're expecting me to be there, or I have another session that was scheduled before, right? Like these optional sessions that I had before, or like the one I had today, which, by the way, is very brief, but still, I may even delete it. I'm not sure because there isn't much on that one because your classmate had a problem with his connection, so the session pretty much didn't happen. I was actually meeting other students in another class, so it didn't happen. But in general, they're going to be available to you and they're going to be there. So one more time, if you want to access Blackboard's previous sessions, you click on Blackboard Collaborate right here, and then instead of staying in the sessions, which is default, right, you're going to go to recordings, which is in the past. So you can go ahead and click on any of these, and they are now available for you to see. One more time, step 1, go to Blackboard Collaborate. Step number 2, it's going to default to sessions, so you go to the menu here on the left. The drop-down menu brings you to recordings, select recordings, and then pick whichever session you want to hear. On a side note, today's session doesn't have much. It's 16 minutes of not much. But again, I am looking forward to more sessions, to more students deciding to join as a group or even individually so that other students with similar questions to yours can play the sessions later and then have their questions answered, okay? So this was the point number 1 that I wanted to make. Point number 1 is that you now know how to view previous sessions. Point number 2 is that when you go to course assignments, right, you will notice that you have a couple of things already going on. The progress report is already due. Then you have an oral history that is also due now, right? It's not due now, but it will be due next week. This is your major stakes, your higher stakes assignments. Number 1, it's the first out of 3, right, that you need to do. So I suggest that you start by going to course content and stay up to date with all the work that I gave you before that. For example, capturing the living past, which gives you step-by-step tips on how to do that. I suggest that you read everything else that's available to you here, right? So that it makes sense to you to create a project like this. Now, I'm moving on to point number 3. Again, after reading all of these, right, you can have support in 2 other ways. You can have support from the whole class by clicking on whole class discussion, right? If you notice, there is a forum about oral histories with your classmates already participating in the discussion and giving you tips on what they are going to do, right? Well, you have to read them. I'm not going to discuss that. You have to read and you're required to participate. However, that's not all. I said that there were 2 ways. The next form of participation would be going to groups, right? Click on groups and then go to, well, I am not part of any groups because I am not a student. So I'm going to exit the preview and I'm going to ask you to pretend that you are, for example, in History 1, click on your group, right? Then you go to Group Discussion Board. Click on Group Discussion Board. Look at the forums that are there, right? Click on them, right? And then once they're in there, you need to go ahead and post the answer, right? You need to respond to the questions that I am posting there, okay? So that's where, for example, you would write a question about your oral history project. That's where you would ask, for example, your classmates, what do you think I should do about the oral history? I am thinking about doing an oral history about, I don't know, about female skateboarders in South Brooklyn and that community. Okay, I don't know. That one social group is interesting to you, so you want to go ahead and do that, be my guest, right? So I think those were the points that I wanted to make for tonight. So have a wonderful rest of your week, day, or whatever it is, whatever time it is when you're playing this. Thank you very much. Please continue to come to Blackboard to keep up to date and ask me questions so I know what kind of content to produce to help you. Thank you.